America's always been known as the melting pot of cultures and everything like that. And I think that music is starting to melt as well too.
When I put out metal,
Mhm.
I know for a goddamn fact that the people who love metal,
Mhm.
no matter what race they are, and they love what I do, they're gonna listen.
Absolutely.
They are going to listen no matter
Just like when
what.
I put out hip hop.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I, my black ass all up on your shit, nigga.
Right, but I'm just saying they could be the most pro-black, anti-white person possible, right? They hear my music, someone might be like, "That's all right."
Oh, this white.
And then the rest of their shit might kick in. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, if you like a certain type of music, you're gonna like it no matter who the face is. You know what I'm saying? You may hate fat people, but you love Jelly Roll's music. That motherfucker ain't skinny. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just. It breaks all that shit, man.
I'm unstoppable like rolling, cracking out the modes. Never mind the road, I go whichever I'ma go.
What's up, y'all? Harco's here with the Music Making Sense podcast, where we talk about music marketing, branding, and how to have success as an independent artist. And with me, as always, is the one, the only Dapper Dan, Mohawk man, looking like he's about to go on a ski trip today. KP. How the hell you doing today, KP?
Yes, darling. Yes, baby. I look good. I look fly. I look good. I look fly. I look good. I look fly. I look good. Hey! Woo! You all rock. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, baby. That's right, baby.
Yep. But for those of y'all who don't know, KP was born and raised most of his life in Detroit, Michigan, but he's been living in Seattle, Washington for quite a while. And they actually have snow and it's cold today, so he feels right at home. And that's why he's got all this extra energy and his architect going skiing attire looking on. You know what I'm saying? That's the first thing I said. Like I turned the camera on when we hopped on this thing. I was like, "Are you going skiing? What the fuck?"
And I said, "No, I look like one of those like architectural bosses that's walking into the site and just be like taking notes and stuff."
Yeah, exactly. Definitely look like that.
Oh yeah, man.
But
how you feeling, dude?
I'm feeling all right. Yeah, feeling all right. But yeah, we got some interesting topics we want to talk to you about today. The first one, KP, want to talk about kind of ties into the last episode. So we've been, the first few episodes that we had, we were just kind of like talking about different things. Mm-hmm. But here the last about 10 episodes or so, we've been kind of piggybacking off of every episode. And last episode, we were kind of dissecting a video. Excuse me. We were dissecting a video. And then kind of branching off from it, that No Labels Necessary did about how somebody was saying something about how Beyonce, even though she has more star power than Rihanna, she can't sell merch like and product like Rihanna can, blah, 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 stuff like that. We were talking about the brand behind her and everything. And today we kind of wanted to go into that a little bit more because KP was bringing up how, how we talked about last week, how her brand is a lot of her stage performance and her larger than life image and all those things that go into that. Mm-hmm. And that's a reason why she is the product. She doesn't sell product, and there's some artists that are like that. And then there's some artists who can just like move product who, like Jeezy or Snoop Dogg, you know what I'm saying? Like they're always affiliated with some product.
Right. And
they're sitting there just moving it. You know what I'm saying? But then there's some people like Beyonce where she is the product. Yeah. And speaking of that, like to speak on that is the fact that she just put out 2 country songs and she hasn't even went on stage with them yet, as far as I know. And they're already top of the charts. So it's like her brand allows her to, whenever she puts out her product, which is audio music and then the stage element of that, that it sells no matter what. She doesn't have to be attached to AT&T or Boost Mobile or fucking Louis Vuitton or none of that shit. Nope. She just is her, and that's pretty dope. But you were wanting to touch on like some of the stats with it and stuff like that, KP?
Yeah, she just made Billboard. She just made Billboard #1 on the country charts, R&B, gospel, and Latin. Yeah, dude.
How'd she get Latin in there too? I can understand the other ones.
Because I guess
did it have a Latin vibe?
Because Texas.
Okay.
Texas has a strong Latino,
no, I get it. Yeah,
community.
it's like a second Mexico. But
yeah,
like,
having that connection with Texas, being that she's from Texas, and she does have a strong connection with Latino community as well, especially Latino women. There was one time, and this is so funny, guys. I don't know if you ever seen this, but there was a meme of she was like a Hawaiian, like there was like a Hawaiian family. It was two girls and their mom, and the mom. And this was when Queen Elizabeth passed away.
Okay.
And
that's only like a year ago or so.
Yeah. And so the one of the girls said, "Mom, the Queen died." Right? And Mom turns around and said, "Who, Beyonce?" And I was cracking up, dude.
Yeah.
And she's like, "No."
I think you might have mentioned that last
Queen.
week too. Yeah,
that's
definitely hilarious. Yeah,
right.
It just depends on who your version of the Queen is.
So that right there, like we were like saying, that it just shows her. It shows her prowess as far as being an artist. Like, she doesn't have to get behind products, because when you look at those songs, let me do a little bit of just to go in a little bit more of a detail about it, because dude, like, she's one of the first, like, I mean, because you think about the history, like with country music, Tracy Chapman became the first Black woman songwriter to have to become recognized for Fast Cars, and then Luke Combs doing the cover. Her influence in country music is already, you got Tanner Adele, who came out with the song Buckle Bunny, who has a line in her song saying, rode me like a cattle, looking like Beyonce with a lasso. I'm a Buckle Bunny. Got my own truck, got my own money. I love that song, dude. That song rips, dog. I'm just saying. Tanner Adele, Buckle Bunny, y'all check it out. Baby girl got skills, bro. Seriously, she is fucking awesome as hell. I'm just gonna put it out there, bro. But when we talk about Beyonce's influence in country music, I mean, I know I was one of those guys who was like, well, what about the other country artists that's been out there for a long time? I had to start thinking about it like, well, they don't have that same appeal.
Right, they don't have the same appeal. And I can see how you'd be like, man, she's stealing the shine of all these other people that we've been working hard to try to be the top, and she just walks right in. But I think, but at the same time,
benefit
for them.
No, and that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying, and I want to go touch on that. It is a benefit because like I said, you got Tanner Adele, you have Rena Roberts, you have Chapel Hart, you have these Black women who are kicking ass in country music right now. I mean, they are.
And then you got some of the men too, like dude off of
Antoine Walker, my man Antoine Walker from straight out of he's from here from Washington. Shout out to
you. Got him. There's a few other ones as well too, because we were talking about it. Chris Calico just jumped over there, formerly of Strange Music with Tech Nine and stuff. He's actually right in that picture right there. But right behind me, for those of y'all not watching, but all right. I just wanted to come in here and let every single one of y'all who love raw, real underground hip hop know about a dope show I found over on YouTube, and they're exclusively on YouTube as well too. All right, it's called Hip Hop Radar Underground. Make sure you go check them out. They got live Friday shows every single Friday, showcasing artists from all across the world, underground, raw, real hip hop. And if you're an artist, you can actually go and submit your music there too and get it popping on that show. It's a great place to go and network with everybody as well too. Everybody that watches that show and tunes in live are raw, real hip hop fans. All right, so it's a great place to find some real lovers of your music. And like I said, if you love listening to dope new music, make sure you go check them out. They also offer artist spotlight interviews as well too. So if you're an artist, you want a spotlight, go ahead and hit them up over there. Me and KP were just previously on there, and we had a dope interview, sat down with the host himself, Sack Juggalo, and had a great conversation. It was a great opportunity. So I just wanted to cut this message right here for every single one of y'all who love raw, real hip hop, or you're an artist. Make sure you go check out Hip Hop Radar Underground over on YouTube. You can also follow them over on IG. Make sure you go check them out. All right, let's get back to the show. Then we also had what's the name of that dude that was in Hootie and the Blowfish?
Darius Rucker.
Yeah, Darius Rucker. He's been there for a while.
Yeah, he's been there for a minute.
He went over and stuff, and so yeah, I think it's interesting. The only part that I find like strange, because when you were listening to how she's at the top of these different charts, was the Latin one, and like I understand what you said, the reasoning, but I'm just sitting there at the same time like, hold on, like unless it has a Latin element to it, that's kind of weird, like it's like those charts are supposed to be for the style of music, not for the style of audience that happens to listen to the lady or the person or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So that's the one I thought weird, but the country and the gospel and all that stuff like that makes sense for her to chart all of those and really just knock it out of the park, which is awesome. That's completely awesome. And because like I said, she hasn't performed it yet. So when she does perform it, it's going to hit differently. I could almost guarantee that her numbers for her performance are going to be up more than they were last year off of this. Because she's going to be drawing in a different crowd.
Yeah. Well,
like it's going to draw in not necessarily a different crowd, but more crowd from different areas. You know what I'm saying? So like before, she may have already had people who also like country come to her shows because they like multiple different genres of music. But now she'll have more people who maybe never really listened to, Single Lady or nothing like that, who never really liked the pop version, but they like that. And they're like, oh, okay. And then now they have a different perspective on her. And now they're going to come out and see the show as well, too. So I could definitely see that being an increase. But, and especially if dude, imagine this, if she has like a tour with like all those other, like the black women of country, or maybe she throws in some guys too, or whatever. It's either way. I mean, she could just do all women if she wanted to, but like if she has some of them on there too, and then now they're getting that light, and now she's not just coming in and stepping on everybody, she's coming in to help pull everybody. You know what I'm saying? That would definitely be dope, man. I think that would be something where she could get past some of the, I mean, I'm not gonna say everybody has it, but you know how some people got that mindset where it's like, oh, well, she stomped on everybody else in Destiny's Child so she could get ahead, right? Yeah. There's a few people that still think that even after all these years. But so like if she came in and was like lifting everybody, it would like squash all of that, past shit that still lingers around for all these years.
Yeah. So here I'm looking at the I'm trying to look up the her charts. I know she's a top Billboard number one in Canada, or top downloads. She got one of the top downloads, and she's number one in the downloads in Canada. Here, I'm going to do a little bit more search on here for the, cause this is fucking crazy. I'm sorry. I'm just like tripping out. And I have to say this, I get where you're coming from with the guys, but the ladies are truly, let's keep it 100, just like in rap. Let's keep it real, dude. The ladies are really kicking ass. They are, and they're fucking.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, they're fucking up the guys.
Involved. Yeah,
they're fucking up the guys. They are.
No, they are.
I'm
definitely.
sorry.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's interesting. Yeah, that's true, because I mean the ladies have been on the top of the charts in hip hop as well too here lately. We had that clip of you going off about Sexy Red being the face of hip hop and shit. You know what I'm saying? And in positive and negative ways. But yeah, it's. I mean, it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying nothing like that.
Oh,
no.
It's I'm just saying, like,
thing. Yeah. Well, and also too. I was mentioning those other people just because those were also other people that I just happened to know off the top of my mind as well, too.
Well, yeah, because you're looking at Kane Brown. So if we talk about the guys, you look at Kane Brown, Jimmy Allen, Willie Jones. There's another one.
Isn't Kane Brown white?
No, Kane Brown's black. He's just
maybe I'm thinking
like
else.
He is light skinned in the motherfucker. That's all.
Maybe
I know you're talking about.
Else, then.
No, you're looking at Kane. I'm quite sure you're talking about Kane, but no, Kane's a brother. He's just light skinned. Yeah, he's just a light-skinned brother. But nope, he's black. So you got those. So the younger looking at Willie.
Yep, that is the same guy I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
He's a brother.
Well, that was on me.
Yeah. Oh no, it's cool. It's cool because I think his mom. I think his mom is white. So I do think
which makes sense. I mean, he's biracial. He's very light. Yeah.
Yeah, he's biracial black. I mean, there are a lot of but growing up in Detroit, and there are a lot of light-skinned blacks who have dark-skinned parents.
Like right, yeah, no, it happens. This is the roll of genetic dice. You know what I'm saying? There's albino black people in Africa, you know what I'm saying, with blonde hair and blue eyes, but dark as hell skin, It's genetics is interesting.
Yep.
But no, I don't know. Yeah, that's my own ignorance. I never listened to his music or dove deep into him. I just remember when he was first popping off, when he was doing all those covers, and then all the ladies were going crazy over him because he was attractive and everything like that. They didn't give a fuck about the voice or whatever, and everything. And I was just like, man, fuck this motherfucker, because you know, jealousy and envy. But I'll admit it. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? But
I was the same way when it came to Ghostman. When I heard him, I was like, fuck you, little. But I was just like, dude, stop being a hater. You like the motherfucker, and realize
if we can admit that we're being envious or jealous, then that's positive. You know, even though we're being negative with it, we're still acknowledging it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think it's definitely interesting how she's getting in. And one thing I've seen too is that I think we talked about it last episode, maybe the episode before. We were talking about how artists, a lot of them are just hyper creative and they have different interests and stuff like that, you know. And just like I think we talked about, you know, the element where Wayne came out with that rock album and then he had to go back, you know what I'm saying, to hip hop and stuff like that. But some people are able to cross over and do both things, you know, like MGK, for instance. You know what I'm saying? He's on like a rock pop type of thing or whatever, and then every time he comes back to hip hop, you know, he comes back with a beef or something like that, so that gets some attention. But he comes back and he does decent, you know. Right. And then like he keeps floating around, and the next thing you know, you'll see him up on stage with a guitar, you know, and you're just like, hold on a second, you know. And so like, you know, there's a lot of artists that do that, and I see that becoming a trend. You know, like we talked about Nick D. You know, I'm still kind of on his D, but not as much as I was whenever I first heard his shit, you know?
Right.
But if you listen to his music, it's diverse. He's got some country style shit. He's got some pop style shit. He's got some hip hop style shit. He's got some stuff that's like a blend of all of those, you know? So I think, you know, America's always been known as the melting pot of cultures and everything like that. And I think that music is starting to melt as well, too. You know, because you see a lot of people doing it, you know. I mean, didn't Nas X just come out with like a song that's kind of country-ish or something like that? Or no. So he first came out with that Old Town Road that was country-ish, you know, and then he's been doing some other stuff. But like, there's a lot of artists. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of artists that keep blending other styles of music into their music, and it's becoming something. And I think that's a byproduct of the internet. Because with the internet, cultures are blending more and more and more now, and in positive ways. You know, it's not nothing to dilute any one culture, but it's to accentuate. You know, because now you have all these Asian infusion restaurants and stuff like that. You have all these infusion where they take elements of different cultures of food and blend it all together and make something dope. Right. You know, you'll have like some mahi tacos with fucking habanero salsa or some shit. And you're like, what the fuck? You're mixing like two different things, but it comes out dope, you know? But as I see that in music, and I see that as a positive thing, because then it shows right there how you can chart. If you do great, you can chart on like every fucking chart almost, you know? And you know, you can come out with like 5 songs in a year and chart on like all the major charts, you know? Yeah. Country, rock, hip hop, everything.
All right, I'm trying to figure out that when you asked the question about how does she top on the Latin charts, I'm trying to do some, as we're sitting here having this conversation, I'm trying to actually do some research on how she was able to chart the how she was able to make chart on the Latin charts. Because that is a very interesting take on how she's able to do that. All right, it was a TikTok. I was actually reading. It was a TikTok. This guy on TikTok. Here's what he said.
This song you might be able to hear. Just one song. It wasn't just the all-genre top 100. It was also the country, dance, gospel, R&B, hip-hop, and Latin charts. Name an artist with a wider fan base than Beyonce, because she's just made history by going in straight at number 1 across 7 different Billboard charts with this song you might be able to hear. Just one song. It wasn't just the all-genre top 100. It was also the country, dance, gospel, R&B, hip-hop, and Latin charts. Name an artist.
Okay.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Here, I can totally explain that, and I'll say it again. Why?
Okay.
Cultural phenomenon. All right. Beyonce is a cultural phenomenon. She is able to reach audiences within different genres. Why? Because as they say, music is universal. Texas, again, the Latino and Mexican community is a strong base. In fact, hip hop in Arizona, the strongest fan base in Arizona is for hip hop is our Latino and Mexican community. Right?
Yeah, Texas has a lot of it too.
And so now when Houston, So guess what? She has that connection with them, right? Even for English speaking Latinos out there, right? They understand what she's talking about. And if you're from Texas and hearing that melody, because think about it, a lot of Mexican, if you think about the cowboy history, the history of cowboys, it actually did the way they dress. Came from Mexicans too.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So
it did. Yeah, there's a lot of blending down there, hella hard.
Yeah. So for her to have, she has that connection within the Latino community. She could go to Puerto Rico and sell out. She could go to she could go anywhere. She go South America. She could go to Mexico and she will sell out. That's why when it touched, and like I said, that melody, that rhythm. It's got a taste of where when you hear that ding 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 ding, this ain't Texas, and then they hold them when they're going round and round. Like you can they can hear themselves speaking Spanish, singing that song. Right. That's where that appeal comes from. Dance.
Right, and I understand her having a diverse audience. I guess I just assume that when you look at the charts, it's because whatever genre of music, the style of music fits within those charts. So like I get her hopping in a country, but like he has said something about hip hop too. It's like this is a country song. I could see it being in all the ones that are similar to country, but like how was this marketed as a hip hop song? How was this marketed as a Latin song? Like I understand the base of the audience that listens to it. I get that.
That's what they're going to go by.
Which is interesting because I didn't think that they did that.
No, they do.
Like, I thought they did it based off the classification of the song, which is interesting.
Peep Gang. You remember Pitbull? Remember when Pitbull came out with
I got.
He was able to
right there.
Yeah, he was
you
able
can't
to
see it. It's off camera, but yeah, it's right next to West Side Connection is Pitbull with Miami. Yeah.
He was able to cross over like that because it had a universal appeal. Even for us,
he's also speaking Spanish. He was also reggaeton.
Right, but okay, you put reggaeton, hip hop, Latin music. You putting those together. He was able to blend that in, and that's why he was able to touch each part of those charts. Right,
but where was the Latin
Linkin Park?
Of
let me spit. Linkin Park. Linkin Park did it also. Linkin Park was one of the first rock bands to hit the hip hop charts with those songs because it was their ability to grab the listeners in a way where the critics, think about also the critics who are critiquing this music, they're listening as well. So I understand where you're coming from. Like, yeah, and it is an interesting dynamic, but I'm telling you how they're able to do it is because you have listeners of these different races and they're listening to it and they're picking it up from those listeners, and the charts are going by listeners. They're not necessarily, they go by, they have their categories of what they consider Latin music, hip hop, R&B. But when you have a song or an artist that can touch these different genres and moods and areas with a certain sound, with different instruments within it, the melody, the harmony, the beat itself, right? How does that beat sound? Does it have the hard rock drums in it? So if they hear the hard rock drums in it, guess what? They're going to be able to touch it in rock or other categories as well that has rock in it. And that's what they were able to do with that song with Texas Hold'em, is that because it has a broad topic, it's not so much a broad topic,
broad audience.
It has a broad audience to that topic. Texas Hold'em. You got all these type of people who live in Texas, but also, like I was speaking of, cowboys, things like that. How that song just caught people's ear. Now, granted, you had John Schneider say it was a dog trying to mark his territory, whatever. But then you also had Lainey Wilson, who is a country, like I was speaking of, saying she loves hearing all of these diverse people coming from different walks of life, bringing into country because it's still a universal language.
All right, y'all, let me take a quick break right here to tell you about something that's completely fucking ridiculous, okay? It's called horribledesigns.com. And I personally know the owner, and he's just as ridiculous as this whole fucking company is, okay? If you or someone you know loves stickers and mugs and shirts with crazy outlandish sayings on them that just are designed to catch people's attention out in public and get them to laugh and point and ask you, hey, where'd you get that t-shirt, or where'd you get that sticker, when they see it on your car and stuff like that, y'all got to go check out horribledesigns.com. At horribledesigns.com, they have all kinds of ridiculous sayings on stickers and coffee mugs, t-shirts, vinyl stickers, magnets, and even mouse pads, okay? And I'm telling you, if you guys have not checked out horribledesigns.com, you got to go check it out, because some things are straight up great, like the American Muscle mouse pad. It's got some awesome pictures of great muscle cars if you're into cars, or you know somebody who's into muscle cars and they need some great mouse pad to have while they're on the computer working. But then they also have dumbass fucking t-shirts that say things like, are you staring at my ass, with a picture of a donkey on it, or stickers that say, are you staring at my beaver, with a picture of a beaver on it. Stuff like that, man. Completely ridiculous shirts and stickers, coffee mugs, everything like that. Anything that you could ever think about having just to get people's attention, make a statement out in public, and just completely be ridiculous, and to do it with some horrible designs at the exact same time. And like I said, I know the owner, so he hooked us up with a great deal where you can save right now by using the link below in the description. Whenever you go there and shop, you will not only support Music Making Sense podcast, but you also get a great deal on any and everything that you decide to purchase every time that you use that link right there in the description below. So make sure you go check that out right now, horribledesigns.com. Use the link below in order to get good savings. Go check it out. Buy some ridiculous shit for yourself or someone you know. All right, now let's get back to the show. Well, country. Yeah, and if you think about early country as well, too, you had blues and bluegrass and stuff like that, folk music and everything like that back then. So, like, okay, so one of the podcasts that I helped develop and do editing for and everything like that is called Two Beers with the Band podcast, and it's a guy who lives in he lives in Nashville, Tennessee. And what he does is, all these local bands and stuff like that, or anybody in the music industry, he sits down with them. He has they crack open a couple craft beers, because he's one of those craft beer nuts. Right. And then they just talk about whatever, talk about music. Well, he had some dude on called Bill Steber, Steber. And this dude is really, really big into like that kind of genre, like with the bluegrass and with like the old school country style shit from like the early 1900s. And he even talks about it within the episode, stuff like that, where he got his inspiration was growing up in, like the Mississippi 1920s music area and stuff like that, where it was heavily country, and it was very, it was black and white people, you know what I'm saying? And that's just interesting. I don't know. I guess like I think of things in a very analytical way instead of with a emotional way,
or global
with a lot of stuff,
or with a more global sense.
Yeah. But I mean, I think very analytical, not emotional. So like, whenever I think of something being classified in something, I think it's because it's in that genre. Like the movie Step Brothers with Will Ferrell, right? It's a comedy movie. You wouldn't say, okay, well, just because a lot of people who also like horror movies like that movie, it's now a horror movie too. Like, it doesn't, that it, for me, it doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? So when I think about it, like I said, analytical. So I'm like, okay, yeah, a lot of people who love horror movies also like Step Brothers, which is a comedy movie. So should Step Brothers have won an award in Best Horror Film of the Year too? You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Or Mission Impossible. Should Mission Impossible be a comedy movie as well? You know what I'm saying? Stuff like, just because people who also like comedy like it. So like, I guess that's where I'm trying to, like, I'm like, okay, look, if it's a blend of stuff, like if Beyonce released an album, right? And her album is called, 2024, right? Or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And she released an album and it's got these 2 country songs on it. It's got some pop songs. It's got a couple of Latin songs. It's got a couple of hip hop songs. And then that album charts on all those charts. That makes sense to my analytical mind. But for this song to be a country song, just because it appeals to a wide market, it just would be weird. Because, I mean, whenever you're uploading a song into distribution on whatever distribution platform, you have to pick a genre and a subgenre. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you can only pick one of each, like a genre and a subgenre. You can't be like, oh, my song is hip hop, death metal, rock, and reggaeton. You know what I'm saying? So that's just kind of where it confused me whenever I heard her charting in hip hop and in Latin. It just, for a country song, like, because I said I'm overly analytical with shit.
Well, also you're comparing movies with music, because I was thinking about this. All right, Scream.
I'm using the categorization method,
right?
Is what I'm
because you
using,
think about Scream and Scary Movie, right?
Yeah,
Scream and Scary Movie. Now,
yeah, there we go.
So, but
one's a parody horror, of the other, yeah.
Right. So it's a horror it's a comedy horror, which is unique, right? A horror comedy, right? So, and we're like, okay, but at the same time, we can visually see that. We can see that it's a horror film, that it's a horror and comedy film. We could we could distinguish the difference. And you are doing,
Scream wasn't a comedy though. Scary Movie.
No, listen what I'm saying. No, but okay, right. But it's a parody. Here's what I'm saying. We can visually see that. Like you were just saying about with movies. You can see that Scream is a horror film and Scary Movie was a horror comedy. But they were able to put those two together. Music is different because it's audible.
Okay.
So you can hear. So what you're doing. So what I'm saying is that what you were able. The difference is that hearing and seeing have two different functions.
Okay.
So what you're seeing with those films is not the same as what you're hearing audibly. If that makes sense.
It's not. I hear what you're saying, and what you're saying is, like, the way you're putting it out was not making sense. The categorization is still hitting my analytical mind, and I'm being like, no, it's one or the other type of thing when it comes to stuff.
But
like
music
that.
is not like that. That's what I'm saying. Music is not the same as a movie. This is why when it comes to sync licensing, and this is why I get where you're coming from, being in sync licensing now. It's the difference when you write a trailer and an underscore.
Right.
Okay. And I told you about that last week with me having my song return, because it sounded good for horror, great horror film writing, but it wasn't made for a trailer. Right. With Beyonce's songs, because she has that connection, and because the relativity in Texas with the Latino and Mexican community, it's able to hit the Latin charts because of the sound that you're also hearing, those different sounds you're hearing. Movies, when it comes to that, it's a difference. That's why when we're writing for films, we have to write for the theme of the film. Now, guess what? A film can have 1,000 different songs in it, from hip hop to rock to all those things. But the theme has to be horrific, right? It has to have that feel to it, just like how we were able to listen to, remember the song, I Got 5 on It? That hook has now become like a thing for like Us and scary black movies that have that are horror, that are made by black film creators. They're having that because why? It gives a sense of, wait a minute, I can connect to this as a black person who's into horror, oh, now I'm able to really connect this. Or a person who doesn't, and they get into it, but they hear that hook, they're like, okay, whoa, this is, and they're hearing that drum. I got 5 on it. Right? They're hearing that drum. It's like, whoa. So what it is that I get what you're saying, but again, it's music, so it has a different appeal audibly. It's going to be that way audibly. That's like the same. So you're not going to be paying because you can't see it. But then when if you watch a video of it, then maybe you'll be able to see where you can see where the connection comes from with the Latino community. But also looking at it,
maybe I'm not saying that like I said, I'm not saying that the community wouldn't enjoy it. Like different communities won't enjoy it.
No, we're not. No, you're not saying. I know that. That's not what I'm saying either. What I'm saying is that you're saying
classification,
right? The classification, and that's where I'm explaining. Like that's where it's. I see where you're coming from, but that's where that's why.
Yeah,
where you can see that's where the classification comes from.
Yeah, I didn't think that it was set up like that. Yeah, I thought it was set up just based off of specific style, not necessarily audience and stuff. But yeah, no, I get where you could say because Texas does have a Latin country mix to it, even in like a lot of the hip hop, like Slim Thug and them and stuff like that back here on my wall. You know what I'm saying? They had that Texas swag, the country swang, and then they also mixed in with a lot of like Mexican stuff and everything like that as well too. Which was interesting because there were a lot of Spanish hip hop artists. We mentioned Pitbull and stuff like that. And in his song, I mean, one of his popular songs is called Culo. You know what I'm saying? And culo, means ass in Spanish. And but like he was like mixing back and forth between he was doing the Spanglish shit. Saying English and Spanish, mixing them around, everything like that. And so but it did have a hip hop mix which reggaeton is like a Spanish version of hip hop. So I understood why those two would chart on the same thing. It just I don't know. Some shit, I don't know. Sometimes nowadays I sit here and think, I'm like, are they intentionally trying to just confuse everything, or is things really crossing over? But that's just my paranoia sometimes.
Well, I mean, you got to look at what Rage Against the Machine.
I do see the melding. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at Rage Against the Machine. I mean, look at hell. We look at
Limp
look
Bizkit,
back. Look at look at Primus. Look at Limp Bizkit. Look at
Beastie Boys were on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Which is weird. They were considered rock and roll. ICP was considered rock and roll. They wouldn't classify them as hip hop for years. You know what I'm saying? They would classify them as rock and roll.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff. So those kind of historical things are what confused me about this specific situation. Is like ICP, when they first came out, they were clearly hip hop. Clearly.
But that has a lot to do with race, and this is why we need to have that.
Yeah,
that's
I can see that. Yeah,
race. That's why we
90s.
need to have and that's why we need to have that conversation in music about racism and how it put artists who were in certain categories, and because of the color of their skin or because of those things, they put them in these categories. Right?
Yeah, well, luckily we don't do that anymore, so it actually helps represent
we still
music.
We still do. No, we still do. That's the thing. Like the record companies and stuff, they still do. It's just that what we are starting to do is that we're starting to recognize it and say, hey, this is a problem. And that's why a lot of us are starting to, that's why that's starting to make but in the business part of it, they're still doing that. That's why, again, subconsciously you have let me just finish the point. That's why subconsciously for you, which is understandable, you're feeling like how is it that Beyonce was able to touch the Latin charts? Because it's
the Latin one doesn't bother. That was weird to me. The country one, it's a country song. It makes sense that she would be in country. Like if they were so dead set on keeping her in a box, she puts out these country songs and they would say, this is a pop song or this is a hip hop song. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't have let her get into the country charts. So that the fact that she did get into the country is dope because it shows that it's based on the music that you put out, not on who you are, where you're from, nothing like that. It's like she's coming out. She's like, hey, yes, I've done these, but look, these 2 tracks right here are country. Maybe she's gonna do more too. Maybe she'll do a whole album. Fuck, you never know. And it was like, these 2 songs right here are country. And then they're like, yes, it is country. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the Latin part is like, okay, that's interesting. But if it does go based off of demographics and the demographics on what you traditionally listen to, you know, if you have a bunch of people who most of the time, like 90% of the time, are sitting here on whatever streaming platform, they're listening to Latin music and stuff like that, and then when Beyonce comes out, they listen to her too. I could definitely see where that would change the analytics to be like, oh, look, she's top of the Latin charts. Well, that's based on this group of people who mainly listen to Latin music are also now listening to her stuff, and she's hit more streams within them than what any of the other Latin artists have been doing lately. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Her to be on top of hip hop, that's an interesting one. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, here's a guy. Okay, I was just. It's funny.
Consider her hip hop. So
I did. That's why there was some moments where she had some flow. You can hear it. You can hear it in the song.
The pop style. Yeah, the pop.
And you can hear it in her vocal delivery. Yeah. You totally can hear it in her vocal delivery. Mm-hmm. But there was this young man on TikTok. I'm not TikTok. I'm sorry, but this one's Instagram, and he's breaking down the way 16 Carriages, the song, how he's breaking down the songwriting of it, right? Mm-hmm. And this young man who says, because he called it pop music, which really pop music means popular music, but people think it's like people think it's a certain genre because it does have a certain sound to it or whatever. But he said this, and he says it's not pop though. And my response was, it's popular. That's what pop music and pop culture actually means. And then he says, then Day, I'm not trying to, I can't translate his writing. Oh, some people. He said, music of today's pop culture, not, and he puts that in quote, music of today's pop culture, not pop music. And I'm like,
so I think what he's trying. I think I know what he's trying to say.
I know what he's trying to say too.
Yeah, it's like we mostly think of pop music as stuff that, yes, it is popular. It's short for popular. However, it's popular for a reason because it crosses all demographics of music. You know, rock, stuff like that, right? It blends it, and it's something that's universal. It's a universal music, and it's got the catchiness. It's got the vibiness to it and everything like that anyone can rock with, no matter what they predominantly listen to. And I think that's what classifies as pop, because it is popular, but a lot of people break things down too much, you know, like there's plenty of people like myself who distinguish between hip hop and rap, you know, stuff like that, even though a lot of people throw it all in together. And you know, there's difference within that and stuff, but it's this stuff is pop because it's popular, but then it does also have that hyper catchiness that a lot of pop stuff has, where it gets stuck in your head. You know what I'm saying? Like you get pop music stuck in your head, and you don't always want it there. You know what I'm saying? Like that's one thing that's like one of the stereotypes of pop music is like, oh man, I got that stupid I'm Happy song stuck in my fucking head again, right? I don't even like Happy. You know, like for me, I hate the song Happy, right? I think Pharrell did much better shit. But like Happy, I can't stand it because it's one of those things. It's like everybody's like, oh, I'm happy, and like it just gets caught in your head and then it won't leave. And you're like, no, I don't want this song in my head, right? That's what a lot of people see as pop. Yeah. And so I think that's where he could classify her stuff as pop, because it has that same hypnotic element to it with her stuff, where people hear it and they just don't want to stop hearing it. All right, y'all. I just want to hop in here again real quick. Yes, I know again, but you know what? We rock with a lot of people here, and a lot of people rock with us here at Music Makes Sense Podcast. So I got to tell you about all these great people, all right? And this one right here, right now, is Mad K Studios, all right? Go check them out, madkstudios.com. Mad K is a dope artist, man. This guy can draw or paint almost anything, okay? He really, really specializes in, like, portrait arts for memorialization of of your favorite car or a family member or a loved one or something like that. All right. Full commission artwork, no copy and paste shit or nothing like that. All right. Custom designs. If you want it, make sure you go hit up madkstudios.com for your custom art piece. And you can even go check out some of the pieces that he's done for freelance and stuff like that. And you can also get it on a shirt. He's got coffee mugs and mouse pads and all kinds of other decorative pieces of artwork that you can go and check out as well too. So if you're a connoisseur of art, you're looking for a nice piece of knick-knack or something like that around the house, or if you want a custom artwork design for a loved one or something that's cherished in your life that you want memorialized in an actual painting, a real painting, make sure you go check out madkstudios.com. Let them know Harco's over at Music Making Sense Podcast sent you. All right, let's get back to the show.
They can't stop hearing it. It's like they
no,
can't.
You can't.
It's out of your head. That's why
you're a fucking screamo metal dude, and you're sitting here singing her damn song. You know what I'm saying?
I was singing Tanner Boy. I know, right? Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean,
well, because the thing is,
it's like
because the one thing that is like, if you're a songwriter, and I don't care what genre you are in, you're gonna write. You want to write songs that are going to be catchy. Like when I was with my old last band, Beyond Theory, we had a song called "As My Angel Kills." Right, I wrote the song originally. Wrote the motherfucker. Right. Now, when I ended up leaving the band, they ended up getting a new singer. Shout out to Jamie. That's still my guy, man. I got love for Jamie. Always respect that man. I've known him before I known those guys. But long story short, he ended up, taking the song and he was singing himself. And people still love that song. They were singing. I was right there, mad as hell, but at the same time, like, holy shit. These people still remember "As My Angel Kills." And folks are like, dude, that's because you wrote that shit, Coley.
Yeah,
and I was mad as a motherfucker at the
song.
Yeah,
the quality of the song was still there.
Yeah, I was mad as hell about that shit too. But at the same, but when after it was like, wait a minute, dude, they repeated. That's my hook.
That's your creation.
It's my creation.
That's you. Yeah, exactly. So, which is interesting because you had mentioned when we were talking briefly about the topic today before we hit record, and before I had multiple fuck ups trying to get that new intro right. Because for those of y'all who don't know, like we've been trying to every episode we try to do a little bit better and try to do a little bit different in results to our branding. And so last episode I was like, I came with the idea. I'm like, wait, we need to within the first minute or so, we need to establish what the show's about. That way people keep listening for the rest of it. And so I'm like, okay, well, let's put it as part of the brand instead of it just being, because the way we've been doing it for a while, we come on, hey, how's it going? We talk about some random shit. And then we get into the topic of the day. So people who first listen, they're like, okay, Music Making Sense Podcast. Let me check this out. And then they listen, they hear the intro where I take a snippet out of later in the episode. And they listen to that, like, okay, and they're sitting there listening. They're like, okay, now they're talking about the weather and what this dude's wearing. I don't give a fuck about this. Click, bye, right? You know what I'm saying? But if we just hop right into it, and it's like, hey, this is what we're about. This is the agenda. This is what we talk about: music, marketing, branding, influence, everything like that. And then people are like, okay, cool. And then we just get into it. They're like, yeah, and they just don't want to stop, But what we were talking about before has something to kind of do with that, which was, you had mentioned something kind of like an offhand thing where a lot of people will say, oh yeah, well, Beyonce doesn't even write her own stuff 100% herself. She got this team of writers and blah, 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 which is said about a lot of the people at the top. And, for us, like me and you, who are songwriters, who write our stuff ourselves, it comes from within us. It's our creation, just like you in that song. I can't remember the name of it, but the song you were talking about. As My Angel
Kills.
Yeah, As My Angel Kills. Yeah, for some reason I was talking about Angel Falls, but yeah. But it's a creation from you, 100% you, everything like that. But when you reach the top like that, it still is an artful creation, but it has so much more of a business element to it. And when you have a lot of hands in stuff like what Beyonce does or Drake or somebody like that, where they got so many hands in the pot that they have these people. Maybe you can look it up. There's this dude who supposedly is in Switzerland or somewhere over there who is responsible for writing a certain a high percentage of all the top charting songs of across the world here lately and stuff like that. And it's really interesting because there's a lot of people that go into the elements of creating a song because they look at it from different perspectives. And while it creates some good music, a lot of the purists in music don't always like it. Did you find the guy? Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's the guy?
I'm looking him up now.
Oh, you're looking for it. Okay, sorry.
Zach Bryan?
Maybe.
Zach Bryan?
I don't know the name, but I'm saying like I heard that there's like some dude over in Switzerland, somewhere over in there, in like the Northern Europe, who is like has his hand in so many different songs, and like he's like the ghostwriter behind like all kinds of like the top songs charting like for multiple years in a row now, and across all genres like hip hop, pop, country, all that stuff. And because like there's some people that are just really, really good at that, and that happens in all kinds of genres too. You got comedy that happens a lot in, where you'll have a lot of good comedians who are good in stand up and everything like that, and they could rock independent, but then they get signed as for like a writer job, right, where they're writing on TV shows or they're writing for other top performers and stuff like that. And then like you don't even know that they're a killer, and then all of a sudden they come out and they start doing their own stand-up again, and you're like, yo man, this dude's killing. Like, what's that guy, that Neil Brennan, I think it was, who was a big one of the top writers in the Chappelle Show, right alongside Dave. Like, he's one of Dave's best friends or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think his name's Neil Brennan, but he's a comedian as well too. They were both stand-up comedians, and they came together with a few other people for the show, the Chappelle Show. Mm-hmm. But he's out there on tour right now doing like his comedy stuff and everything like that now. And he's legitimately funny. It's just nobody knew who the fuck he was, because you're like, Chappelle Show, Dave Chappelle wrote this, but in reality it was him and some other people, because you had Charlie Murphy in there, and other greats that were helping to create absolute, a lot of
behind the scenes workers. Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah, and it doesn't take away from the art from the front facing artist, because Dave Chappelle is still a beast solo. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's not that like he was a shell or he was a shill or anything like that. It's just they came together and created great shit. Like the Chappelle Show was amazing for its time, especially for its time, right? Because it broke through a lot of different things at that time, and it really pushed the boundaries of what comedy was seen on a high level, pop level, right? And so I think with Beyonce doing something like this, where she's breaking into other people's houses to steal a line from Tech Nine's song, "Bitch," his song, breaking into colored people's houses or colored houses or whatever it is,
breaking into colored houses.
Yeah, breaking it. Yeah, but so it's just like it's interesting to see. I like seeing it because it brings out a lot more flavor. You're introducing different flavors into stuff. It's
throwing
just
that sauce in there, baby.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Tex-Mex. It's like the Asian infusion restaurant, stuff like that. And one thing I wanted to one of the things I wanted to touch on in today's episode, but I think that this was really, really good one to be doing for this most part, is I just wanted to kind of tie in that in regards to this, a lot of artists have a lot of fear when it comes to music, because
let's transition into that right quick.
Yeah, okay. There you go. I knew you wanted to do that when she said that. All right. but they have a lot of fear with a lot of stuff in the music industry, right? Mm-hmm. And it's because of things like this. You find out, like, I always knock on Drake hard as fuck for not writing any of his own shit, right? But that's because I still have that purist element. So you have a lot of artists that are like, man, I don't want to lose my purity. I don't want to lose my hunger. I don't want to lose the elements of me. I don't want the success to hurt me, right? And so they're looking at all these positive things of success and popularity, and they have the fear of it because they don't want the negative repercussions of it. But then also at the same time, you have some artists who have extreme fear on being themselves. They try to fit themselves into a specific box that they think, and we've talked about this multiple times on the show, that they think will sell best, even though it's not truly them. Right. They're like, hey, this is the wave going on right now. I can make music that sounds dope within that, even though I don't give a fuck about it. it'll help progress me, like I think I brought it up too, yeah, J. Cole was a hell of a conscious artist, but some of his first most popular songs were hella pop style. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I was your boyfriend.
Yeah, I was just sitting there thinking about that one.
That song, right? That song had nothing to do with, like Black liberation and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was just a pop song. And so a lot of people, like I said, fear drives people in different ways. It either drives you to be like, I don't want to be part of that wretched industry because I don't want to not be myself. And then some people are like, well, I want to be loved by everybody. I want to be popular, so I'm going to not be myself in order to do it. And so whenever you are getting into your music and you're trying to expand, you're trying to grow as an artist, don't be afraid to challenge yourself and be diverse. If you're a boom bap artist, hop on a trap beat and still rock some shit. You ain't got to go full trap style, but you can.
KRS-One went off on a trap beat.
Exactly.
You can put
off. Exactly. You can put your style and your flow and hop on a little bit different rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Like, like we said, we were talking about Pitbull. Like, that motherfucker can sit there and go crazy on a Lil Jon beat and then hop over here on a reggaeton beat and go fucking smash. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people like that. Like that's one thing that I personally have always tried to do is, like, if I hear a beat that I like and it hits me, I make a track on it. Like, I got some songs on technically trap beats that you wouldn't think of a trap song. Why? Because you're taking elements of different things and you're putting it in and putting your own spin on it. So, the fear of being original is a hard one for a lot of artists to deal with as well, too. And what I gotta say is, don't be afraid to not be original. Like, me and KP, we both have had to overcome that fear of not being ourselves in multiple different ways. We each got our own thing, but we've come to the spot in our life to where we're like, hey, this is me. I'm this, I'm that, and I'm this. It's like, what? You're these two opposing things? Yes, I'm these two opposing things at the same time because I'm an individual, and you can do that no matter what it is that you're trying to do with this music thing, no matter who you are, your background, none of that stuff. You can just be you, like we talked about Beyonce. She's made all kinds of crazy pop songs, even had some hip hop elements to it. I remember now, like, especially with Destiny's Child, it had more of a hip hop vibe to it, and then, but now she's hopping over into country, which she might have already been fucking with. It's just the labels didn't want to allow her to for a while. You never know. Now she's hopping in that because she's herself. She's being her. And then you can feel it in the soul of it. She doesn't feel cookie cutter with the shit. It feels like, hey, this is me. This is what I want to do. I want to do what I want. And so you just got to get past the fear of it and just do it. And you never know what could happen. You never know. You could have great success just being you. And if you fail, well, that might just be because the marketing wasn't on point. Because you didn't have that plan. Oh, sorry. You didn't have the plan. I'm hitting my own fucking mic over here. You got to have the plan. You got to have the marketing element. And then just stay true to who you are. That's one thing I always talk to artists about whenever I'm coaching them with their marketing and stuff like that is, they're like, oh yeah, this, here's this track, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. So what about you on a personal level do you want to share with artists or share with your fans? Just think of one thing that you want to share that maybe you don't talk about in your music. Maybe your music's all about that hustler music and everything like that. Well, what else do you want to show to your fans? Because you can do that. I mean, there's plenty of artists who, fuck Lil Wayne, for instance. He is like globally known as that throwing stacks of $100 bills at stripper, blowing money, spending on fast cars, and living that rock star life and everything like that. But then he can come out with some raw tracks, what I'm saying, that are like deep, hard hitting tracks. Carter 3, Carter 4, and Carter 5 all had some of those on there. And I personally think that the reason that his Carter albums did so well over all of his mixtapes and everything is because of the rawness on it. And so as an artist, just do it. Just go out there and do it and be you. And, don't let anybody try to stand in your way and say, no, you need to stay in your lane, man. You're this or you're that. It's like, nah. Like, like KP, just because I'm a metal guy doesn't mean I can't do free jazz too. Doesn't mean I can't get out here and fucking sing my ass off, right? Doing a duet with an R&B artist or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like we are all more than just one thing. All right, y'all. I just want to take a quick break right here to tell you about something hot and spicy. And no, I'm not talking about that Latina thing that you saw on Tinder the other day. I'm talking about hot sauce. And not just any hot sauce, but Tennessee Hot Sauce Co. All right? I personally know the owner of Tennessee Hot Sauce Company, and I've seen him grow this company from just something that he would sell a few bottles at the local farmer's market to something that can ship all across the United States now, all right? And you guys have a unique opportunity right now to save 20% by using the code MMCPOD when you check out on any order over at Tennessee Hot Sauce Company's website. All right, that's tnhotsauceco.com. Make sure y'all go check them out and use the code MMCPOD over at checkout and save 20%. You guys got to check this out. All right, they have all kinds of great flavors. My personal favorite is poblano jalapeno. It has a mild kick to it because I'm a little bit of a bitch when it comes to spices, but it has great flavor. I put it on all kinds of stuff. I put it on steaks. I put it on burgers when I'm cooking them. I put it on tacos and enchiladas, stuff like that as well too. But I've tried many of these other flavors like the garlic habanero and the honey habanero, the blood orange ghost, and the pineapple habanero. Now, the pineapple habanero was one that really snuck up on me because it had a great sweet flavor of the pineapple, and it wasn't nothing overbearing, but it had a very good flavor to it. And then all of a sudden, boom! I got hit in the ass with the habanero, and I had to go grab some milk, all right? But these are some great flavors, and they have all kinds of different options. They have the collection, which has the full lineup of all 6 of their most popular sauces. They also have different subscription boxes. You have a 3-sauce option, a 4-sauce option, yearly and bi-yearly options available as well, too, for the boxes. Then you also have all kinds of other new flavors that they have that I've never tried yet. I actually got to get that shipment in here soon of the barrel-aged whiskey and the mustard dill scorpion. Those are 2 that look very interesting, and I want to try them out. One thing I did try is one of their new options that they have here, which is the poblano jalapeno beef jerky. But like I said, I love the poblano jalapeno sauce, and whenever I tried this jerky, no bullshit, I ate the whole bag before I can even sit down and shoot this promo right here, all right? And so luckily, I know the owner, like I said, so I got another bag on the way, but y'all gotta go check it out. And he also told me they got some more flavors coming out of the jerky as soon as they get operations up and running on that brand new venture right there, all right? So again, make sure y'all go over tnhotsauceco.com, use promo code MMCPOD at checkout and save 20% on your order. And on top of that, orders $50 and over are free shipping in the United States. So again, make sure you go check this out. Small batch, small brand, but powerful flavors. Tennessee Hot Sauce Company. Now, let's get back to the show.
Right.
And so as an artist, just put it out there.
Yeah. I was actually I just went and grabbed one of my books here. This is called Right to Rock by Maureen Mahan, right? And there's a part in here where there was you guys ever remember Des Dickerson? He was the former guitar player for Prince before the Revolution. So that was like around the Dirty Mind controversy time that he came out. That's when Des was a part of the band. And he said this a while back in a it was a Billboard article about the newly formed BRC, which was the Black Rock Coalition. Mm-hmm. And he said Des Dickerson, lead guitarist in Prince's band, wrote a letter that Nelson George experted in his column, The Rhythm and the Blues. And Des went on to say this. He says, if American blacks were told tomorrow that they will only be allowed to eat in certain restaurants or wear certain clothing, the uproar would be immediate and undeniable. But year in and year out, blacks in the music business are told, play R&B, build your bass, then we'll cross you over. Those of us with black skin and rock and roll hearts are denied the opportunity to make the kinds of records we want to make, or in most cases, denied the opportunity to make records at all. And this was quoted in 1986 by Des Dickerson.
Yeah, so that's almost 40 years ago. Fuck.
Right. But here's what, and the reason why I brought that up, the reason why I said that was because when you look at the situation with Beyonce and with John Schneider making the statement that he made, I'm not going to let that ride, because this has been a problem that we have been seeing going on in the music industry. R.A. the Rugged Man has brought up about how when you started seeing Eminem, and it was funny because the RZA brought this up too. And this was in a roundtable discussion on MTV with the RZA, Nas, Redman, and Wyclef Jean. And they were speaking about how there was going to be black producers, black hip hop producers like a Timbaland, Dr. Dre, were going to start having to recruit white rappers. Okay. And we started seeing that. And R.A. the Rugged Man started pointing that out as well. The problem is that, and even like as Des Dickerson showed, the problem with that, why we have that fear, is because we have industry people, we have people in the industry, people in the business who can make or break, or who can give you that chance to make a break, make a difference in your lives. They're being told that they can't do this type of music because of these barriers, race and religion and sexuality, all those things. They
put people in boxes.
They put them in boxes.
Whatever your box is. If you're metal, you're metal. Stay it. You know?
Yeah. And even then, but not even just that. It was more like, look, you were black, you can't make metal. That was also a thing, right? No, it wasn't something like that. That's what it was told.
Saying,
even there's a part of it where
people have been breaking through that though in a positive way, like Beyonce. She's breaking the fuck out of all that.
But it's still. But the point is, here's my point. You said why we have that fear is because because in many cases, and still it goes on today, many artists are put in those categories. Why? Because of skin color, because of race, because of sexuality, because of religion, those things. So yes, what we have to keep doing is that we have to, in order for us to break the fear, it's not something that we've created on our own. Like, the artists didn't build that fear themselves, right? They were looking at it from perspective of when they saw, like when we were growing up, when I was seeing Motley Crue and all those guys, I was like, man, I love that shit. I love that shit. That's why I want to do it. But the industry was saying otherwise, right?
Yeah.
So that was discouraging a lot of people from doing what they truly love musically. So that fear, like I said, that fear wasn't just something that was just, that was built on from ourselves, from our own. It was because we saw what was going on. We saw the fear and the demands being put on these artists. Like Des Dickerson said, he was one of those artists, right? And that's and Beyonce, even when she went out there with the Dixie Chicks, which was like in 2017, I think, or somewhere.
Yeah.
But even when they did that, the thing was that there was the racism that was going on, that was being told. And then even it took a gang of people to get on country stations and say, look, we love this song by Beyonce. Why are y'all not playing it? Right? Because they were like, well, we don't play Beyonce songs around here. Right? That attitude. So now that's why, we got that. That's why we have that fear. That fear ain't built. That fear is not just built within our own.
Right. And I understand the fear from that perspective, but I'm talking about even if you took, a lot of the things that people can't change, especially like race, right? You take that out of the equation. If you have somebody who is, a blues artist, and then they want to make some mariachi music or some rock music, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it'd be like, oh, you're crossing over into different genres, but I think the internet is, like I said, is letting a lot of those things start to be broken down. Even if race is not a factor, right? You can still break through different barriers, because as individuals, as humans, in order to put things into our mind, which is an organic computer, we have to categorize things, just like as an artist, right? If you put yourself out there in any kind of marketing and branding, if you put yourself out there as being too many things at once, people get confused. They don't know who you are. They don't know what you do. They're like, what do? You do everything? That's weird, and so that's why you see, like, if you see like sports commentators that all of a sudden get political, right? Doesn't matter, race or light, you know what I'm saying? Then people are like, oh, just keep talking about sports, bro. Like I come here to talk about sports because sports is is what I love. I don't like politics. You know what I'm saying?
But guess what? But then the counter is, again, and this is why I'm going to always be the nigga that I am. Sorry, y'all. You're going to have the fact that you're going to have politics, a lot of politics, and deal with sports. A lot of politics fall into sports when it comes to, like, we talk about NILs, like with college players and stuff like that. We're talking about money when it comes to those things. When it comes to politics, is going to always, that's why when people say that, and that's why I will stand up and say that we need to stop saying that, because it's dealing with human nature, right? Like it just is. Like, I get where you're coming from, but it's just, politics is going to be a part of that. I mean, even with sports and music and everything, and like, it's just going to be a part of it.
Right. But what I'm saying is that people want to just naturally categorize certain things. It's like, I'm over here watching NFL. It's time for NFL. I don't want to care about any politics. It doesn't matter what the politic is. I'm over here for my sports. I want to see plays and tackles. You know what I'm saying? Because people are hyper categorizing certain things. It doesn't matter what it is. You hear political commentators that all of a sudden want to start weighing in on sports. People are like, hey, stop talking about sports, man. You're a political commentator. Let's focus on that, because that's what they come there for. If people came to Music Making Sense podcast, they want to hear about music marketing and stuff like that. Saying things that have to do with music. If we all of a sudden sit here and talk about woodworking, people are going to be like, why are y'all talking about making cabinets, man? We're over here talking about music. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Is like, but at the same time,
that's a little far-fetched, but I get
right. Yeah, I know. I mean, we could talk about woodworking, because I built some shit, right? right. But for instance, you know what I'm saying? But for instance, like, I'm part of another podcast called The Weather Report, right? Mm-hmm. With some other guys that I know. And we talk about, things from a political bend, and we talk about politics type stuff. But over here, you know what I'm saying? We just kind of keep it Music Making Sense podcast and stuff, music, marketing, everything like that. So you can be multiple things. It's just, I like the fact that people are crossing over in music and blending all different kinds of things, because I think it's going to create better music. You know what I'm saying? Because all the different elements that come into music, when you add the rock with the rap, or the Latin music with the hip hop, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? When you get that, you get the pop with the country, right? Because that's what a lot of people, who like the old country, right? They like the old country because nowadays it's more pop. Okay, well, guess what? The pop with the country is creating great shit. Like, there's a lot of dope artists that, are making crazy country music. You know what I'm saying? And Beyonce's coming over here, bringing her pop element, stuff that she has become the queen of, her element, and she's bringing it into another genre. And it's not to dominate, it's to accentuate, in my point of view. And I think that she's going to do great in so many different areas, bringing up other people to help break that fear, you know what I'm saying, that we talk about with the race portion. But then also saying, hey, we can make country music great again. I guess, you know what I'm saying? Let's just say that. We can make country music a better thing. Let's make it something that's great, that talks about these type of things. You know what I'm saying? People coming in with their different ideas and blending different things create the Asian infusion restaurant of music. And I think it's dope, man, because I love music, and I love when people are hyper creative with it. And I don't think that people should be put into, oh, you only make metal, no, you can't make blues, you know what I'm saying? Or no, you can't make folk music, you know what I'm saying? Or, oh, you're a rapper, you can't start all of a sudden singing R&B, you know what I'm saying? Anything like that. I don't like boxes. You know what I'm saying? Me and KP, neither one of us fit in boxes. You know what I'm saying? We're our own shape. I don't even know what the fuck to call it. We're a multi-sided, 20-nonagon or whatever the fuck it's called. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
So yeah, like, Absolutely. But yeah, any final thoughts? We're a little over the hour here, man. Any final thoughts with, how Beyonce is crushing the fuck out of shit and changing the landscape of things? And I think it's gonna be a positive thing. Yeah, you're always gonna have haters, but overall, I think time will tell that this is gonna be a positive thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I even said this. I said to all those country stations that kept saying that, I'm like, guess what? Now y'all motherfuckers ain't got a choice but to recognize these black country artists because they're popping up on the internet. They're popping up out there. They're topping the charts. They're killing it on Spotify. They're out there doing it. So nah, man, you know, all y'all hillbillies that got all upset about it and shit, dog. I'm sorry to tell you, but guess what? Like Vivica A. Fox had to tell Joe Budden's ass, sit your bitch ass down because the ladies is taking over and they looking sexy and do whatever they want and it's a new day. You know, that's what she straight up said, dude.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of Beyonce fans that don't like that she went to country. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there's some.
Yeah, that's right. There's maybe
always that minority.
There's always a bee sting. You know, there's a couple bee stings from the beehive about the shit.
Exactly.
But overall,
that's a good metaphor.
But overall, man, they are, dude, I'm telling you right now, nigga, I had to come and say, I'm coming in peace. I'm not here to say this. I just want to say that, hey, we got other black country artists out here as well. But hey, I'm a Beyonce fan. I can't even front. I love Beyonce. I've always, man, when she came out with that, boy, nigga, want you, I can see it in your eyes. Off that note, dude, I was like, oh, who is this? Who is this? Who is this? Nigga, I went crazy, man.
Right. Well, there's always got to be people of like the people that have power. They're the ones that have to come through and break through things. You know what I'm saying? Like once you get power in one area, then you can use that and you can wield it for positive change. And that's always what's needed. Like throughout history, every culture and everything, it's always had to been like that. People with power have always had to come in order to change things for the better. And like, you know, I love the internet for a lot of different things. Not only can I get porn on demand anytime I want to, but I can, but it levels it doesn't completely do it, but it's leveling the playing field for a lot of people. And it's also helping you have the opportunity to reach your 10 to 40,000 super fans out of the whole population of the planet, not just out of the population of your city, or their state or your country, which is fucking dope. You know what I'm saying? Because now you can have like the most diverse audience, a fan base, not just in, you know, born demographics, but also location, style. You know what I'm saying? Like all these people who love listening to mariachi music all day are all of a sudden listening to Beyonce. You know what I'm saying? Like now all of a sudden you got all this shit. I'm not just trying to like be hyper.
No, but you are right.
But
I mean, you
like
definitely have a point.
People who like rock, like metal music, like you love that shit that I can't even understand because it sounds like just a bunch of ooh, right?
Yeah,
you're over here fucking singing Beyonce's country song, so it's smashing a lot of the barriers. It takes time, but it's coming at a faster rate with the internet than it ever did in any other time before. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, too, we also were able to express that, you know, when my grandmother and grandfather, rest their souls, were listening to country back in the 80s when we were watching Barbara Mandrell and the Mandrell sisters on television. You know what I'm saying? We were still able to like just sharing that diversity. And now we're seeing it on the internet. And it's funny you bring everywhere. Up that where like with black rock bands, like there was like I just read with this book here. If you guys ever get a chance, great book, guys. All right. Seriously, great book, man. I got another one over here, which is from oh my God, I forgot her name. Hold on, let me grab it right quick, guys.
Yeah, but Dragon Baby, you can keep your camera on, it's fine. But Dragon Baby T, she does a lot of stuff like that. And there's other elements. Was that Punk Black is big on it as well too, where they're actually saying like, hey, let's rise these people up. Let's bring these people to awareness because we have the internet now. We can literally tell people in China about black rock groups. You know what I'm saying? Like shit like that.
And and the cool thing is that Punk Black is also sharing Asian bands and they're talking about Asian rock and metal band, punk bands and stuff. They're showcasing them on with Dragon Baby T, like you said, shout out to her, showcasing them on the Weekly 5 band, you know what I'm saying, that you need to put on your playlist. But this is the book right here. Shout out to Miss Lena Dawes.
What are you doing here? Yeah.
Yep. And this is The Black Woman's Liberation A Black Woman's Life and Liberation in Heavy Metal. Mm-hmm. Right there, dude. Great book, guys. So I got these 2 books right here. But thankfully, again, if it wasn't for the internet, right,
you wouldn't know
you wouldn't be able to know about them, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, fortunately, I got this one from Covington Library here in Washington. And if you guys know the history of Covington, Washington, y'all like one of the radio hosts was like, you got a book from there and there, a book about, I'm like, yeah, dude, I did. So to tell you that, right?
Yeah.
But as you guys can see,
the internet's changing so much.
The internet's changing a lot.
Way.
Definitely.
I love it, man.
Definitely.
I love it, man. Because I just think it's going to be more positive. And the thing is that the internet has sparked such fast change in our society, so fast that it's just like it's an unstoppable force once something gets put in motion, you know. And so, like, we're all about positive change. Let's get your music marketing, let's get your brand on point, and let's really try to get that out there so you could change your life, but then so you can also inspire other people to do the same. That's hella what we're about here. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
It's about doing that. And so whenever I see shit like this, at first I'm like, why is she going to the country? But then you sit there and think about it, and you're like, okay, because she fucking wants to. Okay, let's let her do that, because free humans, right? We can do what the fuck we want. I don't like people telling me what I can and can't do. You know what I'm saying? Or who I can and can't do. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like people telling me that shit.
Yeah, hold on, bro. Hold on, I gotta give you this.
Right. Because exactly. Yeah. But like, within reason, obviously, leave kids alone. But, as an adult, we should be able to do whatever the fuck we want to do. You know what I'm saying? It's dead serious though, man. As an adult in a free society, you should be able to live how you want as long as you're not harming nobody and leave the kids alone. Right?
Absolutely.
Exactly. So like, so I'm sitting there looking at Beyonce like crossing over in the country, or even somebody like Jelly Roll who made his way in hip hop and then crossed over the country, right?
He can rap his ass off.
Exactly, stuff like that.
He can flow, dude.
Right, exactly. But he can also
holy
sing.
Shit.
He can also sing.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
And so, because he's an artist, and he grew up in the South with the blending of those both elements of hip hop and country. You know what I'm saying? And so,
around the brothers,
UGK and Pimp C had a lot of fucking country elements in their shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, not only their accent, but also like the vibe and everything like that. And swanging and blah blah blah. And all that stuff. So it's like the blending, I love, and then also like just people just doing what the fuck they want. As long as they're not fucking harming anybody, like for real, not just harming people's feelings, but like harming anybody, just do what you want, man. The internet is so vast now that if you don't like Beyonce's country music, you can literally listen to any fucking thing you want to on the internet. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we're stuck with terrestrial radio only anymore. Like on our channels, I had like a 15-minute video that I made on a walk the other day, kind of talking about this. That. Yeah, it's like we're not stuck to listening to. You only have 3 choices of local radio stations. Do you want the rock station, the country station, or the hip hop and R&B and pop music radio station, right? Yeah, and then you got to listen to the same 12 songs all fucking day, every hour. They just keep repeating the same shit, no matter what you listen to, right? You don't have to get stuck to that anymore. Like, you can literally get on Spotify. I can type in, Freddie Gibbs' song "Dark Hearted," right? It's one of my favorite songs from him. Type that in, hit play. And then it'll play that song. It'll play another song from him. And then it'll play songs from other artists that are kind of like him. And then it just keeps going. And unless I hit thumbs down, it kind of keeps going in that kind of area. It'll also take into effect what I've already listened to. So it'll throw Mick Jenkins in there right after a Freddie Gibbs, and then throw fucking some Jeezy right after that, and some Lil Wayne right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so diverse that it'll throw that shit in there. And they'll throw some old school shit in here every once in a while and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's the society we live in now. And so trying to force people into boxes is bullshit. Trying to force people to stay in their lane is bullshit. No matter what box, no matter what lane, it's crazy. We can go and watch whatever we want to now. We can go listen whatever we want to now. We can express ourselves however we want to now. And it's awesome. I love it.
Everybody can get into rapping, screaming, singing, or anything you want.
And if you learn that about the internet, and you learn how to market that and master that for yourself, you can be successful as well. You just have to showcase it, and people will resonate with it.
And I know that I talk a lot about race a lot, but I know that for a fact that when I put out metal, I know for a goddamn fact that the people who love metal, no matter what race they are, and they love what I do, they're gonna listen.
Absolutely,
they are going to listen, no matter
just like
what.
When I put out hip hop.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
My black ass all up on your shit, nigga.
right, but I'm just saying they could be the most pro-black, anti-white person possible, right? They hear my music, someone might be like, "That's all right."
Oh, this white
and then the rest of their shit might kick in. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, if you like a certain type of music, you're gonna like it no matter who the face is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You may hate fat people, but you love Jelly Roll's music. That motherfucker ain't skinny. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it breaks all that shit, man. That's what I love about the internet. So that's why I tell every one of y'all, take all the information that we give you here every single week. And if you want more in-depth shit, hit us up. You know, you just saw we just did that artist spotlight with Royalty, who's a hell of a unique individual. Yes. If you haven't checked that fucking episode out, go check that out, because you want to talk about from scratch. That chick does everything from scratch. Yeah. So go make sure you go check that out. But
and brilliant too. She's brilliant.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so, but then, like, you know, just take all the information that we got here, try to put it to use. If you want something more in depth, hit us up. musicmakingsensepod.com for any and everything Music Making Sense podcast. And I saw somebody commented they were at our website and they're like, how can we contact you? And so I gave them the email. So like the email's there, everything's all on our website, musicmakingsensepod.com. Make sure you go check it out. Listen every single week, share the fuck out of it. You know, at least one person that you know wants to hear this shit or needs to hear this shit, let them know about Music Making Sense podcast. We're steady growing. One new person a week is fucking dope, man, because that's 365 new people every single year listening or more. That's all I ask, man. Just share it with one person, get one more person listening every week. So, but until then,
facts.
My white ass and KP's ass will be back here on another episode, and we will see you next week.
Powered by Riverside FM.
There's that too. Oh, and cue the music. There. I always think this is a new song every time it comes on. It sounds different.
Hey! My old man Patch.
Get my zebra neck going.
Hey! We out, y'all. One love.